The echo of her footsteps reverberate the room, and Sojourner Truth confidently stands on the stage, preparing for the speech that would change the lives of many women. The murmur of the crowd stirs with hesitation, whether to allow a black woman to speak for herself. But without fear holding her back, her powerful tone impressed the people, and only later would they realize her speech impacted the lives of everyone in that crowd.
May 29, 1851. It was a slightly cloudy day in Akron, Ohio, and Truth could feel the cool breeze gently blowing her bonnet against her scalp.
The smell of smoke wafted through the bustling crowd in the Women's Rights Convention, and it would be Truth's first Women's March. But most importantly, she would deliver her Ain't I a Woman speech. Her powerful voice resonated through every mind.
That man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best place everywhere. Nobody ever helps me into carriages or over mud puddles or gives me any best place. Ain't I a woman? Mm-hmm. Look at me. Look at my arms. I have plowed and planted and gathered in the barns, and no man can head me. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man when I could get it, and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most all sold off to slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman?
Not only was Truth able to capture their minds, but also change their view on how women can be as accomplished as anyone.
Her resonant tone and repetition of the phrase, "Ain't I a woman," left an imprint that lasted throughout history. The equality of voting between genders was not accepted. Before 1920, the fight women put up for the right to vote was strongly based on gaining political representation and having the ability to participate in the country's decision for their leader or positions in the government.
This also opened up the fact that women could be just as important in the government, and for them to be strong leaders and help the country. Sadly, the hard work, worry, and sweat was swept away with the victory of white men to move past women's suffrage. The start of the women's suffrage movement left its first mark after the Seneca Falls Convention in New York, which included women demanding for the rights to vote and persuading people that this is one of the most important steps to take in the women's rights movements at that time.
The women's suffrage gave women the bravery and courage they needed to stand up for the want of being represented, since they were just as much of a citizen as men were. This was definitely a step in the right direction, because being represented meant that their opinions were considered while making a decision for the country, and that they have a leader that satisfies the needs for both genders.
Abolitionist and women's rights activist Sojourner Truth left a lasting footprint for jobless women who were struggling to be accepted and were questioned of their abilities, since men were portrayed to be superior than women.
Women were known to only be useful for cooking, cleaning, and raising children before they began to raise their voices. They knew that they needed education as much as men, so that they can follow their dreams and succeed in life on their own terms, with their own goals and expectations.
The crowd's reaction after Truth's speech was unexpected, because in the 1850s, men were seen as people who only care about their own gender, not the other. Gender equality wasn't known to be an important right for the country. Men were also known to have no respect for women.
The fact that a black woman was allowed to not only speak for her rights, but on behalf of all the women's rights, without causing a riot, was incredible. Women in the late 1850s have left a fingerprint, which started the very beginnings to giving women their own voice. Judgment should not be measured by gender, but rather by ability and action.
Now, if the first woman that God ever made was strong enough to turn this world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. And now, they's asking to do it. And you men better let them. Obliged to you. Thank you for letting me speak to you this morning. Now old Sojourner ain't got nothing more to say.